Innovation and AI Summit. And we will we'll be talking about some really great stuff about some of the investments made there and why it's going to be different, better, bigger, all of that great stuff. We are live on Facebook, we're live on LinkedIn, we're live on X. And so I'll take questions from YouTube. I'll take questions from X. And Facebook as well, LinkedIn. Turn the audio down on that. Good to see you guys. All right, so we are now live. So good to see you guys. I can see your comments. I have a couple of pages open here. So we're talking about the Multifamily Innovation and AI Summit. We are already planning programming for this, and we have made considerable investments into making this a very unique and very different experience, something you haven't experienced before. And, you know, for this will be the 12th year now, I think, that we will have been bringing people and technology together around a central theme, which is the individual. And that is your ability to walk into any organization, regardless of the size of the organization, and make an impact. And so as a leader, that's pretty productive. Now, historically, most apartment investors think about debt and equity and transactional activity as leverage in their business. Now, as they should, right? But we're moving into a world where AI and your ability to move change in an organization and create a competitive advantage, even through the way that you bring people together in your organization, is a tremendous opportunity. And that's not an opportunity that you need to just go to one conference a year and hope that you're going to get all the information. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but the Multifamily Innovation and AI Summit, well, at the time it was Multifamily Innovation Summit, in November 2022, ChatGPT just came out. And the whole industry had gone through every conference in the industry, and they would have missed it if they were waiting to learn about something at a major conference. And so one of the things that we do is we get engaged with our attendees early and throughout the year to increase the value of not only their own time, but so by the time they're at that event, there are deeper connections, there's deeper understanding of each other, and it's not built off of sales environments. It's built off of impact. Now, if you go to Silicon Valley area, you know, and you go to an event, they're not wearing branded swag on stage. Those leaders, it's not even a marketplace. It's people that are showing up to build things for the future. And in the Bay Area, they tend to see the world and the future before most people accept it or believe it themselves. And it's really wonderful to experience an event like that because they're really there, product-centered, focused on the consumer. The market could be B2B. And while there are things that need to happen transactionally with sales and marketing, really people are aligned with what's best for the product, what's best for the market, and they're not, you know, rushing sales. They're not. There's not a lot of pay to play kind of stuff. It's really, but there is bias, right? You do have bias because everybody wants them using this server or this language model or this compute and things like that. And so, but what we're doing at the Multifamily Innovation and AI Summit, I'm going to move you through kind of how we're framing this for 2026. I want to talk to you about the real advantage for you as leaders, what's different, and what we're actually solving for. And then I'm going to talk about some themes, and then what we're doing to change the way you discover and learn about products and situations. So if you're a technology partner, point solution partner, we are moving into more proof over promise, and so use cases, demonstrated value. For 12 years now, we'll be moving into the 12th year here. We are looking at helping executives think about bringing leverage to their business the same way they bring leverage to their business with transactional value. So people are they don't outsource their relationship with their lenders, with their JV, with their or equity partnerships. They understand the impact to getting that right, and they invest their time, they travel, they go see people for those things because they understand the impact, the leverage it brings to their business. Now's the time to wake up and realize that change is upon us and change is underneath us, regardless if we want to believe it's happening or not. And even if you're not changing, the world is changing. And even if you're not in the segment where the world is changing, your customers that you're trying to sell to or rent to are experiencing that change. And so the real differentiator, in my opinion, here is your ability to productively manage your leadership teams to move and enable your teams to increase the success rate of initiatives that they're working on. So then you get yield, you get minimized costs, you get more efficiency, you get more impact, you get more revenue growth. And this is not something to rush, right? So what we're doing at the Multifamily Innovation and AI Summit, when you register, and by the way, you can go to mfsummit.com and register. You can go to multifamilyinnovation.com and just click, register, attend summit. And you'll get all the information about what we're doing there. But what's most important is, why we are talking about this summit today. Because as early as next Friday, we're going to be talking about and moving towards the programming that's leading into that event. So there's not another event in our industry that you can attend that leading into it, you can begin working towards the goals that you have designed for that experience, right? And then in terms of why we do it this way is we don't build our event on the backs of our sponsors. We are ultimately trying to get high-level leaders engaged and paying their own way to this summit, because when you attend other events and they're comped tickets or they give away tickets or their sponsors buy tickets and all that stuff, then what ends up happening is you have a lower conversion rate, right? And that's why our attendance ratio is 70% owner and operators that buy things, lead things, are committed to doing great things in their business, raising their hand because they're thinking forward about their business. And there's something special about when people are committed to that process. When they pay their own way, they know they're not subscribing to a sales conversation. They're not there to trade their time to then take a meeting, right? They're there to make their business better because they're looking at $100 million decision or, bigger risk at the table, right? And so this all comes down to who do you trust? And when we work with our partners, we don't want to put them in a sales environment. We don't want to put them with a logo on the screen and say, here's thank you sponsors. They're the ones building innovation. They're the ones building solutions that solve the business problems. So what we want to do is we want to bring them to the table as experts in a use case, demonstrated value, invitation only. So now the attendees, the executives, and the team members know exactly that this is a proven system, a proven use case. Here's the case study. Here's the customer it worked for. And perhaps the customer's there too, right? And so gone are the days of demos. Demos are dead. And when I say that is this is what could happen. This is what should happen. This is what may come to you. You are okay right now because you don't have to keep up with the world. There is no industry anyway. You don't even have to keep up with the industry. We just have to think for ourselves. And we need to know how to think for ourselves. Because right now, most people are outsourcing their thinking. They may be outsourcing their thinking to AI. They may be outsourcing their thinking to a paid research program. They may be outsourcing their thinking to a report that was sponsored and paid for, and the influencers paid to promote it. They may be outsourcing their thinking to another company that they feel like they did the due diligence. So I know I can make a safe decision because I respect that company. But today, all we need to do is have the ability to think for ourselves and have that ability to then say what is real, discernment. Because right now, the bad writers are writing. Right now, the bad content creators are creating content. Right now, the AI is writing these things, and it's kind of a race to zero. Right? And it's happening in media. It's happening across channels, streaming, everywhere. The cost to say something is going up or down. And so more people are saying things, which means you have more noise in the market, which means how do you know what to do? Well, you know what to do because you have a thinking process that allows you to be able to discern from your own data, from your own expectations, and your own reasons, what works and what doesn't work. And I'll give you a thinking process that we're working with the Multifamily Innovation Council. This is just the annual event to that, but we are working through the 2026 season through five pillars that are going to shape how we think about creating value. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it is not about the tech. It is not about AI, and it is not about the promises and the trends, the momentum that you're seeing manufactured. It is nothing about that. What it is about is your ability to create value through change that occurs in the business. I mean, that's it. The tech is not, nobody woke up and nobody wants the tech or the automation or the solution, the CRM. What they want is what's possible. They want the problem to go away, or they want the bigger and better future. And in order to do that, something has to change. You have to try a new product, you have to try a new thing, you have to change a process, whatever that may be. But we don't want to outsource our thinking to AI or any third party without fundamentally understanding how to think for ourselves in this process. So leaders that attend the Multifamily Innovation and AI Summit are going to know how to think for themselves outside of a sales conversation. They're going to learn about things. They're going to simulate things. They're going to understand change management, the investment opportunities, the emotional intelligence needed in order to actually effectively lead and move people productively through change, so you don't have radical change, which leaves people behind, and you don't have status quo, which means you leave yourself behind, right? And you get outpaced by competitors and all that stuff. Where you are right now, you're okay. Everything's fine. Don't worry about the hype, right? You're fine. All we have to do is realize we don't have to keep up with the world and we don't have to keep up with the industry. We just have to learn and think for ourselves faster than the person next to us. And that will not be hard to do. because most people are outsourcing their thinking to people that are paid, to bring things to you. All right. So with the Technology and AI Center of Excellence, we call it TICO for short, it's about fundamental research insights that are unsponsored, true insights from owner and operators that think about the problems that they want to solve, the priority to solve them, and then aligning the right executives that care about making their business better, doing less but better, aligned with partners. These are people that build great things for the industry. They're out there. But instead of making them the sponsor and the salesperson, we want to elevate them to experts teaching and educating, because that's why products are not being introduced, is because people don't understand how to buy them. They don't know how to understand how to implement them. They don't understand how to make change management happen. So we want to elevate the partners into proof over promise, which allows them higher probabilities of actually even selling things. And this is data backed. This is research. So let me talk to you about these 5 pillars. These 5 pillars, why you need to register today for this is because we begin next Friday with the pregame leading up to 2026 Summit. And there's a tremendous amount of additional value that we create along the way. But networking, connections, we have resources, graduate level courses. We have programs that are not available to anywhere else, but we are bringing that information to you. So when you register now, you're getting started into those conversations as early as next Friday. So let me talk to you about the 5 pillars. So the 5 pillars come from like the analytics body of knowledge and Joseph Kazir's work in the Leading in Analytics book, which is 7 critical tasks every executive should know in the age of data or AI and analytic era. Now, the analytics era was, cloud and the rise of college degrees or graduate degrees as data scientists skyrocketed because there was a shortage of data scientists during this era. We're beyond the analytics era today. But now we're in the AI era, which means for you, there's a shortage of business leaders that know how to think for themselves, productively understand change, right? And leadership skills and capabilities, emotional intelligence, these types of things that will increase the success rate of initiatives that you're working on within your business. And that is strength as a leader. If you can have those capabilities, which is what this summit will manufacture, and as early as next Friday, programming begins leading into that annual summit in person. And that programming leads through about 5 different pillars, fundamental pillars, that you cannot do in a weekend, right? You cannot just rush a process like this. But when you get this right, this is where the opportunity is for the knowledge workers, the people that are wondering, where am I going to be in the era of AI, centralization, automation, cutbacks, all the efficiency stuff, those conversations that are going on. And so the first part of this is what we call getting the team together. And it starts with the team. Now, the team is, you think of 3 people in this process. So you have the executive champion, you have the business process owner, and then you have the technical native. And those 3 people, when aligned, and when they're aligned, create the type of synergy that we need to increase the success rate of projects. You cannot just outsource and say, go talk to my person in IT or my CTO. That's a technical native. And you can't rely just on the vendor technologist because they're capable. You need the business process owner, and you need the executive champion, and you need the technical native aligned. Now, when I say aligned, that's the first step in the pillar, right? And when I go through these 5 pillars, you have to understand that if one of them is not accomplished, the whole project fails. And that's why like 70, 80% of the projects or initiatives that people do don't work out. It's because of this. And when I get to number 4, you're going to realize why most people in multifamily approach this wrong, but not you. Not you. Not after you hear this. So, the first pillar is team. So we have the 3 people. You have like the executive champion, the business process owner, and you have the technical native. And listen, if you have questions, put them in the chat. Either I'll get to them later, or I can get to them live. I'll hang out with you guys. So the second piece is the problem. So now when you get the team aligned, and you have the technical native, the business process owner, and the executive champion talking, then what ends up happening is in that process, we reveal the problem worth solving. So now, all of a sudden, we can do a lot of things. That doesn't mean you should do things. You have AI, doesn't mean you should. Technology, doesn't mean you should. Automation. What's interesting for your business, for your career, for your reasons only. And you're the only one that knows that. Right? You're used to buying software that was built for everybody. And they don't know your business. So, we get the team together, they're aligned, we get them talking, and in that we now reveal what are the business objectives that we have for the quarter, for the year, that we want to accomplish, right? Some people are looking at making more money, growing revenue. Some people are looking at operating differently. Some people are looking at increasing employee experience, customer experience. Some people are investment era, Some people are just holding on. And so when you know that, then you know the problems worth solving, that if they went away, life would be better or different and more profitable, more efficient, better experience for your company. And if my team's watching, I would love some water. I'm coming in hot here. So I think the thing with this process is a lot of people think the issue is problem solution. And what happens is people are like, here's our problem, and they rush right to the solution. That's step 4, the tool, okay? Which is also a problem, okay? Because they're not thinking, they're just identifying a problem and rushing to a solution. And that, through now and leading into that summit, we will give you higher levels of capability at the graduate level that nobody else is equipped to or has the time to or the format to support you with. I'm going to tell you why that's important. Because you can't just have a problem and rush to a solution. There's things that happen in between those steps that are proven that will, when accomplished, increase the success rate of solving that problem. So we're skipping things there. So here's how this works. Number 1, the team, we get them talking and aligned. They reveal a problem we're solving because it matters to the business, and nobody knows your business better than yourself. Okay? The third thing is data. And now we need to know where it is, who owns it, is it structured, unstructured, is it clean, do we need to do stuff with it? We got to have our data, right? So, right team aligned, revealing the right problem we're solving. Now we have the data. And now we get to step 4. And step 4 is the tool. You can call this a product if you want. You can call it a solution. But it's a tool. And now, imagine this. Now we're selecting tools. But now we are selecting tools that are aligned with the executive champion, the business process owner, and the technical natives around a problem worth solving that makes a difference in the business that everybody's aligned to support and not give up and retreat on. And we know the data that we need and have opportunities to. So now, knowing that, now we can pick the tool. And this step right here is the most important, because right now, if you go to any conference in multifamily, they're like, buy tools, come see tools, look at tools, demo tools, 4 minutes to share the tool. Trade show, right? Tools. Webinar, tools. Demo, tools. And with the tools, most people start there, and they've skipped the first 3 steps. And then they wonder why the stuff doesn't work. Or they wonder why they can't sell those tools. It's because you're not entering the conversation in the mind of the customer that's living through the problem that they want to solve with the alignment of their team, the people doing the work, the executive champion and the technical natives. You don't understand their data. We don't understand their business problem. You're just rushing in, trying to sell tools, getting them to come to a booth. So that's step 4, tools. But now we can productively, strategically decide, hey, Malia. Oh, no one's hearing me. They're like, he's live. I'm out of here. Just kidding. So now we have the tools, right? And now we can strategically decide what to do based on our priorities and those types of things. Hey, Malia? I'm about ready to go get my own water. Oh, man. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. I know you're not. All right, so we've talked about the 4, right? Executive champion, getting the team together. That's the first pillar. Team, executive champion, business process owner, technical native. Number 2 is the problem. When we get them talking, that team talking, we reveal the problem we're solving. We get our data. And now we can strategically decide what tool to use. You can't do that in a 4-minute webinar. You can't do that in a flash pitch. You can't do that in a trade show booth. You can shop, but you're skipping those steps and you're wondering why. So now the 5th step is all about execution. And this is where you come in. You know your business better than anybody. You know your teams better than anybody. You understand where they are, what stage they're at in their career, and you're selecting their competencies. You're selecting the priorities in the organization. So stage 5 is execution. Pillar 5, stage 5, task 5. It's execution. And execution is the ability to create quick wins, build momentum, introduce feedback loops, support after the sale, and ensure that the project remains aligned on all those things we just talked about. And at the Multifamily Innovation and AI Summit, we're going to give a framework and a roadmap to productively do this for teams so they can increase the success rate of the initiatives that they're working on. Hang on, I'm going to go get some water real quick. All right, sorry, I had to go ask for some water. All right. So I just took you through those 5 pillars, right? And so now, one of the things, so what I want to talk about now is what really the summit is solving for. It's solving for what companies actually struggle with. Thank you so much. I'm dying over here. Thank you so much. I already had an innovation council meeting today. So I've been doing a lot of talking. And today I just decided to just go live and see about, just throwing some thoughts together and making sure that I got them out into the world, into your sphere. And, all right. So let me come back to you. So anyway, at the summit, we're talking about, again, what companies struggle with most is their ability to change. So nobody's behind all that conversation about there are sides. There's no sides. A company's a company. All companies are a collection of people. Everybody's selling something. Everybody's creating value for something. And your ability to create that value when you can make life better for people, you will have more opportunities, right? So if we're complaining or name-calling or we're being divisive, then what we're doing is we're just being lazy, right? I sent out an email a couple days ago, and we get, 16,000 people, to open it or click on it. I think 5,000 people clicked on it. 16,000 people opened it. And that's because we were working on something that somebody cared about, right? So it's not that LinkedIn doesn't work or trade shows don't work or that email marketing doesn't work or advertising doesn't work or ILSs don't work or centralization doesn't work. Whatever the thing that you're doing and you're like, it doesn't work. It's not that it doesn't work. It's that we're just not good at it or we got lazy or we skipped the steps. So Multifamily Innovation Summit is really this collision between investments, which brings leverage, operational leverage, right? Because operations are eating our investments alive right now. So investors understand this is an opportunity, right? Technology, we have AI, we have change management, business transformation, you can call digital transformation. And leadership, from emotional intelligence to selecting and hiring the right people, getting them engaged so they show up better for the customer, and they drive yields and outcomes for the investments that we're putting together. Now, if you are attending the same events and around the same people, then you are going to get the same thing. And if that's okay with you, then good for you. That's great. But what's happening right now in the way that the world is shifting under our feet is that the mortal threats coming to our business are going up. Like this. Right? And the companies, right? And their ability, they're falling off because they're falling off faster. The ones that don't change. So you used to be able to say, we'll wait and see. We'll see how it goes. Well, until you can't. We haven't experienced this era of the amount of time a company can serve. Like it used to be, a company could sustain a long time without changing. Now that number, that's dropping. The mortal threats are on the rise, and the companies that fail to change are failing faster. But inside those companies are just people. And if they don't have the capabilities to lead and productively move through these things, then your company is the differentiator, is the talent. So what we're putting together at the Multifamily Innovation and AI Summit is a simulation of actual leadership happening to be able to increase success rates of initiatives as people work on them. We're giving actual frameworks. I went through 5 pillars of one today here with you, and there's more to that. There's a $3,800 course that we're giving attendees and our even council members access to before they even get to the summit. So by the time they get there, everyone's speaking the same language, they understand the same framework, and they're all committed, aligned with this vision. But there is transformation that is happening inside the organization, and this is the greatest opportunity to take a thinking process and instead of outsourcing it to AI, bring it internally, which is called AI squared, which is Joseph's model, which is the Aristotelian insight loop, which is AI squared. It's essentially, AI paired with your intelligence, and we can measure and model better outcomes, better thinking. Think of like Greek methodologies in the thinking, first principles thinking, you've heard of that, Socratic method. These are frameworks that last thousands of years. And we're going to be giving you a framework at the summit and align you with the highest level leaders leading up centers of data and analytics at different universities, doing robotics, transformation, simulations around change and transformation that goes into business, from sort of thinking models and frameworks on how people see the world and how they see beliefs and assumptions and what's necessary and sufficient within an organization. We have put together some of the best programming that we've ever put together to really support industry leaders for something different. And there's no sales. No sales. Trust and credibility all wrapped around the Technology and AI Center of Excellence. So the research and insight is not sponsored by a software company. It's not sponsored by an influencer that was paid by a software company. It is truly independent, proof case, overpromise around vetted and backed results that give you better decision intelligence. That's what we're after. Another thing around this is we want to help people understand practical ways to just move forward. This isn't a promise of one shot, everything gets fixed. This is a promise of a journey that you get to go on with other people that are saying, you know what? I'm someone that can create value in an organization. I can walk into any organization, regardless of the size of the organization, and I'm going to be able to make an impact because I'm going to be able to detect how people think, what they believe is possible. I'm going to understand the assumptions that they're going to make. I'm going to need to empathetically understand where they are in their journey and create high emotional intelligence to understand where to move them through change as I'm taking on initiatives. And financially, I'm governing, minimizing risk, but leveraging opportunity by creating and increasing the success rate of the initiative that I work on. Now, it could be leadership. It could be tech. It could be AI. It just could be a maintenance project. And when you use those five pillars, not 10, 5, then you know how to fundamentally follow a framework to when you're in meetings, you'll be able to spot and see why leaders are rushing the process or skipping steps in the process. You know what I think about a lot is the real estate developers and multifamily owners and operators, because they manage lease ups and all this for developers, is they already have this knowledge. You already have this knowledge. You know this already. In order to build an apartment building, you can't rush the process. If you get the steps wrong, right? You have the foundation and the framing, and you have all these steps that happen in certain sequences. And right now, people are like, just figured out that there's a Home Depot store and a Lowe's store. And they're like, oh my gosh, all these tools. You can build this stuff yourself. And they're running out and they're like, watch this, hammer, I can do this. And we're at a state in AI where building code isn't there yet. In electricity, they were burning stuff down. Now we have GFIs and we have codes and fire alarm systems inside buildings because damage happened. We haven't experienced the damage yet because people are playing with their own stuff, teaching people how to do things. And sometimes, if you're not set up to manage that, understand that data, or get that last mile in place, or that last step of code, or you don't think from a computer science standpoint of how this application ties to that application, you're at risk. That's professional malpractice being played out, because the standards will come and people will expect things to be stood up. But right now, developers respect that. Developers know that they build in disciplines to bring together a building because they have a bigger picture of what's possible there. They want to have residents living lives and celebrating birthdays inside their buildings that they build. And yes, there's a financial model of that, but the vision is they're not trying to be their own lumber company. They're not trying to be their own plumber or their own, landscape engineer or architect, right? They have an architect, and that starts with the vision. And then they have a general contractor. Then you have all the subs and the disciplines. And then you have to project manage that. And you have to fund that. And you have to productively move through that. And by the way, it's messy as heck. But they're okay with that. They're like, that's what happens. And then we come back and sweep up and we get the interior designers and we make this place pretty. And then we hopefully have management that protects the architectural and the engineering vision around what was built, and it doesn't incrementally diminish the value of all of that work on the front end. It's the same with technology. It's the same with AI. So if you're going to a conference hoping because it's a large conference, learn something, you're just around status quo. You're just around following what everyone else is doing. But there's leaders out there that don't watch everything else. They get their head down. They get into their business. They figure out what they want to do. They get their teams aligned on it. And they figure out the data, and they figure out the tool they need to use to get the data to solve the problem we're solving. So it's sustainable, and the team stays engaged with it. And then they execute the fifth pillar. They get momentum. They get confidence with their team. They get progress, not perfection, and they get the outcomes. And they don't care about momentum. They don't care about credit. They just built a great business that is sustainable. And they're thinking for themselves, for their reasons, for their investment objectives, for their outcomes. Right? There's very few people that are trying to be everything to everybody. Well, actually, maybe that's an incorrect statement. I don't know about that, actually. Maybe there are people trying to do everything. But there's certain experiences that we are designing the Innovation and AI Summit for leaders that appreciate increasing the value of their own capabilities, becoming that unstoppable leader that can manage change and approach decisions in an intelligent way, using their own thinking, leveraging tools, leveraging AI, leveraging industry partners, moving productively through the change that they need to have happen. So, listen, I've been on for about 40 minutes here with you guys. It's been great. That was my my riff on what I'm thinking about as we're designing programming for the Multifamily Innovation and AI Summit. We have already selected a few proof over promise partners that are going to build use case, have use case, demonstrate value, so leaders that come to that summit can know that they're going to protect their investments, make the right decisions, and bring tech, innovation, AI, investment, automation, change management, transformation, and just value creation in a way that's productive. And when they register as early as next Friday, they're gaining access to this programming that's going to increase their success rate of these initiatives and build friendships and build connections that have meaningful value to you because you've been able to connect with the right people that care about the same things you care about. And this isn't about everything for everybody. This is about those that want to make a difference, that are not following, not seeking influence, not seeking attention, and want to be in a room where 70% of that room are buyers of innovation and technology solutions that are leading their business. I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon. If you are watching this on the replay, put a comment, send me a message, whatever that may be. I'd love to hear from you if you're one of those that think differently and want to build a great experience where everybody from every stakeholder, not just the shareholder, gets better in your business. Go to multifamilyinnovation.com. You can click on events and register, or you can just, I think there's buttons everywhere to register. Or you can go to mfsummit.com. That's the event page, and register as well. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you next time.